All right, hey, what's going on, guys? So I want to do a quick reaction video to the Arizona audit that had happened today, or rather the presentation and the hearings that had happened, and it was available for live stream. You could probably still find it somewhere, maybe on BitChute or Rumble or someplace, but it's at least a 3-hour video, up to 4 hour. I saw almost all of it. I had to step away a couple of times to do some work here and there. But that was today. And the reason I want to do a reaction video is because a lot of people are waiting on the results of this, as well as what could happen with the presidential election and the fraud and all these different things, right? And I have a lot of things to say. And so the first thing I want to say is that you got to be very careful. I've talked about this before. We are in an information war. And so what that means is that there are people, Satan is trying to control the airwaves. God is trying to allow truth to come forth. But because sin is in the world, it's going to taint things. And unless you have a relationship with Christ, unless you are in the Holy Spirit, you're not going to be able to discern. And I'll give you an easy example. People have already commented, even from last night, the supposed leaks, the early leaks, and even from today. And I can already tell these people have no discernment, because what they say is what mainstream media says. They haven't watched the full audit, the 3-4 hour video. They haven't watched any of that. And regardless of what the fact, I'll get to what they presented in a second, but regardless of what the actual words they say, right? You can talk about any topic in history. You can talk about what recently happened with COVID. How many true COVID deaths are? What is it that people are saying during press conferences? I saw this all the time last year. I saw President Trump in the press conference. They had these daily press conferences. The very next day, the mainstream media or whoever it is that wanted to summarize something, they summarized it, but they skewed it in whatever way that they wanted to. They had a propaganda, they had a messaging, and all that stuff. What I'm trying to say here is that if you read an article and you just went off that, oh yeah, New York Times said this. Oh yeah, CNN said that. I knew it. I knew it. Biden won. I knew it. And you have that kind of ignorant mentality of just believing one source, believing somebody because they're credible, believing because, you heard somebody say something, and it's telephone charades, right? You're just listening to what somebody else says. But something like this is so evident. You hear a presentation for 4 hours, and from what they actually said, never mind you what they say might be true or not, when you summarize it and when you package it, and then when you read an article about it, then you would think, oh wow, they actually skewed that messaging. They actually told false things because they only cherry picked something. They only had sound bites of certain things, and they wanted to move the messaging in a way that allowed it to fit their narrative. And so if you are a person who is just reading something and going, I knew it, he said this and whatever, then already I'm telling you and rebuking you in a loving and godly way that because we are in an information war, you can't be just so easily swayed because one person that you find credible, one person because, they said this, they had a nice written, a very prose, article, and it just sounds so flowy and all that. So many people are deceived just at that stage. Never mind you discerning what the facts might be and what it actually might be true. When you hear something, when it's something as clear as a 4-hour presentation, and then you try to summarize something from that, if you're not even past that, I'm sorry, but you are going to be easily swayed by a lot of demonic things. You're going to be easily swayed by many other things. So I want to give you that point. You have to be in a position where you are guarded with your heart. You have to be in a position where you're saying, man, Lord, and with a dialogue with the Lord, Lord, is this true? When this person is saying this, would you give me the Holy Spirit to understand and to really discern what's going on? What is it, Lord, that I should be taking away from this, instead of just eating it up like a buffet? So many people, they just eat everything up like a buffet just because, oh, New York Times said it. Oh, just because this guy said it. This is one of the best examples because it's contained. It's contained, and then what comes out of it is a presentation of something, and then you can summarize it in an objective way. You don't have to have some spin on it, a left-leaning spin or even a right-leaning spin. You just have to have an objective spin on something. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say is, regardless of what you think was presented, and there's a lot of things that was presented, and my conclusion is obviously there's fraud, there's something that's obviously happening that's not right, And a lot of things are here. And I'm not even going to try to tell you what I heard and what I've summarized. Okay. A lot of, state laws, the chain of custody that wasn't being followed, the obstruction from getting actual data. Like, why is it, if you wanted to just get to the bottom of something, why is it that you have to hide something? Why are routers and passwords and all these things not given to an agreed upon objective third-party audit agency? If you want to pick somebody that's super objective, come together as one group, left or right, whatever it is, to get to the bottom of it, because the people want an audit and they want to know what's true. And so what is stopping you from trying to stand up a proper way to look at something? And so the obstruction to a lot of these different things, obviously with what they've presented in terms of the numbers, the deleted files, the purged files, the connectivity to the internet, the security, the passwords not being changed, a lot of people using the same password, duplicate ballots. I mentioned the chain of custody, the envelopes without signatures. If you actually watch, and even the first guy that was talking, I was so mesmerized by what he was saying. He was a sharp guy from MIT who was presenting a lot of things, and throughout the presentation as well, right? But you have to actually see it. And obviously more needs to be done. More needs to be done, and this is just the beginning of hopefully many other states, many other ways to now have precedent so that the Attorney General and the ability to have prosecution, to have Maricopa County provide more things and seize that so that they can look at the routers, they can look at all these other things, the computers, the poll worker computers, and so many other things. I'm not even going to get into all that. But the truth is, like I've said before, we are in an information war. And if you are not right with the Lord, if you don't have the spirit of discernment, if you don't hunger after the truth, then you can't digest this. And I'm not even coming from, I'm right leaning or I'm a conservative or whatever it is. I'm literally trying to step back and say, man, what is the truth? Like, if this was for Biden and if he fairly won, okay, that's God's will. Okay, I'm okay with that. But I'm trying to get to the bottom line, the facts, right? I don't care who's the winner or the not, or who isn't the winner. It's about getting to the bottom of things, what's being done in the righteous way, the right way, right? And so there's all these things I can talk about, and I'm reacting right now too, because a lot of people are messaging me and a lot of people are saying different things. But I want to at least give this initial view, because if you're not awake right now and if you're not hungering after the truth, if you're not in a position to really be objective and say, Father, I want to have a dialogue with you so that you can help me discern what is this information or misinformation age that we're in, because there's so many things going on. If you're not recognizing it in the spirit at the high level, the devil wants to take captive your soul. He wants to take captive how you think and where you spend your time. And if you're not in godly things, if you're not in the truth, then you're going to be easily swayed by somebody with flowy language from the New York Times. You're going to be easily swayed by all these different things. So that's why a lot of people right now, they don't care like who's who. They just want to know what the truth is. They want to get to the bottom of things, and it's waking people up. And I'm excited and I'm happy because there's a spiritual awakening right now. There's a lot of different things going on, but this is a precedent for more things to come. And so it's exciting because it's doing what the Lord has already revealed. It's exposing, it's getting people to wake up, to be spiritually rejuvenated. And if you're not in a place because of pride, if you're not in a place because you are just so clouded by, the flow of the world and what you want to believe, and you don't want to get out of that bubble and that viewpoint, then you can't be objective. You can't be unbiased. You can't have a way to be taught and to be humbled because of your pride. And so that's my initial takeaway right now. A lot of things to come. It's exciting. Bottom line, it's exciting, guys. You just got to watch the whole thing, right? And it's amazing where this is coming and going. But again, there was a lot of obstruction that prevented a full audit. And so that's something hopefully we can see as the Attorney General for Arizona. He has precedent to do charges and many things. So be careful, guys, of what you hear. Again, you have to discern, you have to get right with the Lord, and you have to actually look and research. And it's something especially as easy as this. You don't have to look into the actual, the IP and addresses and the details of what the auditors are doing. instead of like believing that is one thing, which I believe is truthful. But even when you're packaging something like a 4-hour lecture or 4-hour presentation, and then you go and skew it in your 3-paragraph article on your mainstream media site, even then you have to wake up and see, what is it that people are saying? What is it that's propaganda? Why is it that people are motivated to stop something or halt something or distort something or to fight a campaign for truth and all these things? So you got to ask yourself this. You got to wake up and see that this is a war. This is a war between good and evil right now. And so if you're not awake to see that, it's not about left and right. It's not about all these things. It's about getting to the bottom of things, making sure even elections for America are in a place where it can be trusted, right? And more so than that, this is a bigger battle. Talk about that at some other point. But initially, this is my reaction video that I want to share with you guys. So God bless you guys. I'll talk to you guys very soon.